All right, let's talk about something that so many of us feel, especially when we're doing well. That nagging sense that you're an imposter.
You know that feeling, right? You get a big win, maybe a promotion, you pass a huge test, and instead of celebrating, you're hit with this secret dread. A little voice whispering, you just got lucky. Any second now, they're all gonna figure out you have no idea what you're doing.
So the usual thinking is, oh, that just means you're insecure, right? It gets framed as this personal weakness, something you gotta fix or just get over.
But here's the twist. What if that feeling isn't a bug, but a feature? What if it's actually a hidden sign of a highly intelligent and deeply self-aware mind? That's the paradox we're gonna unpack.
Okay, so first up, let's look at this really fascinating psychological idea that basically flips our whole concept of confidence on its head. It all comes down to the burden of knowing just how much you don't know. So you've probably heard of the Dunning-Kruger effect, yeah? It's this famous bias where folks with, not a lot of skill in something tend to think they're absolute geniuses, mostly because they can't even see their own mistakes.
Okay, but here's where it gets really interesting. For highly intelligent people, it's often the complete opposite. Your brain is sharp enough to see the vast, sprawling complexity of a topic. You can see your own blind spots, your own limitations. And that kind of awareness, it doesn't create arrogance, it creates doubt. You end up feeling like a fraud because you know enough to see the giant universe of what's still left to learn.
And that leads us right into our second point. This is all about that conversation you're constantly having inside your own head. It's a process called metacognition.
So what is metacognition? Really, it's just your brain's amazing ability to step back and analyze itself. Think of it like a non-stop internal quality control check that's always running.
Does this little internal monologue sound familiar? Wait, what if I'm wrong about this? What am I just assuming to be true here? That kind of constant self-questioning is a classic sign of high metacognition. Other people might just run with their first thought, but your mind is already poking holes in it, looking for weaknesses.
And here's the kicker. To everyone else, you look totally on top of it, right? Capable, successful. But on the inside, it feels like you're just making it all up as you go along. Why? Because your brain is busy exploring all the ways you could be wrong. It's a huge strength, but man, does it feel like you're a fraud.
This self-analysis often feeds right into our third point, the perfectionist curse. And I'm not talking about just keeping a neat desk. This is about the impossibly high bar you set for yourself.
See, for a lot of smart people, you're not really comparing yourself to your coworkers or your competition. No, you're comparing your work to this perfect, flawless version that only exists inside your head. And that's the trap, right? You're in a competition you can literally never win.
And that right there is why getting a compliment can feel so empty sometimes. Someone tells you, great job, but all you can focus on is the huge gap between what you actually made and that perfect ideal in your mind. You feel like an imposter because they're praising something that, to you, is just full of flaws.
Okay, last but not least, let's talk about why your achievements never seem to, well, stick. It's this mental habit that's super common in ambitious people. You're always focused on the next thing.
Think about this cycle, right? Step 1, you work your tail off, you hit this huge goal, awesome. But then, step 2, almost instantly your brain is already on to the next thing. It's already planning the next big mountain to climb. And what happens? Step 3, you never really stop to soak in the win, so it never feels real. That huge success just shrinks in your rearview mirror, and it just reinforces that feeling that you haven't really accomplished anything significant yet.
So let's pull all this together. That feeling of being a fraud, it's not just some random anxiety. It's the totally logical result of a brain that sees its own limits, that is constantly checking its own work, that holds itself up to a perfect ideal, and that never stops pushing for what's next. These are not the signs of an imposter at all. They're the hallmarks of a really deep thinker.
So here's the big idea I want you to walk away with. That feeling of self-doubt, it is not proof that you're faking it. It is proof that you have a sharp, highly aware mind that gets how complex the world really is. It's a sign that you're just demanding more from yourself than most people do.
So, the next time that little voice starts whispering that you're an imposter, what if you didn't see it as a weakness? What if, instead, you saw it as a sign that your incredible brain is just doing its job? What if that doubt is actually your greatest intellectual asset?